hold on, guys, because this could get ugly fast. If this storyline is heading where it seems to be heading, then we may be looking at one of the most painful homecomings in Port Charles in a long time. Cameron might be coming back with Jason, but he would not be the same Cameron anyone remembers. And that alone already feels like a storm cloud dragging itself over every corner of the canvas. The way I see it, Liz is not just worried. She is probably terrified. Because when a mother looks at her own son and feels distance instead of warmth, something has gone very wrong. Cameron seems closed off, silent, and almost unreachable. And that kind of behavior usually does not come out of nowhere. It feels like he has been carrying something heavy, something dangerous, something that could blow up the second the wrong person touches it. Liz may keep trying to get through to him, but the more she pushes, the more he appears to pull back. And that is where the real heartbreak begins. Because this does not feel like simple tension. It feels like a wall. A cold, brutal wall between mother and son. And if you ask me, that wall could be hiding a secret so big that it changes everything. Because the idea that Cameron and Jason were surviving on the run from Cullum already tells us plenty. These two were not just hiding, they were likely trapped in something way bigger than a family crisis. A blood pact is the kind of detail that makes everything feel darker, sharper, and far more dangerous. It seems Cameron may have agreed to some kind of secret mission tied to the WSB and Cullum's organization, all in exchange for survival. That is not small potatoes. That is life or death territory. And once a young man crosses into that kind of deal, there may be no easy way back. Now here is where things get really messy. Liz may not just be angry at Jason for dragging Cameron into this. She could also be devastated that her son made a choice she never saw coming. And that is the cruelest part, because the secrecy itself can wound just as much as the danger. The fact that Cameron is refusing to explain himself might suggest that he feels trapped, ashamed, or even afraid of what happens if he tells the truth. Maybe he believes silence is the only way to protect Liz. Maybe he thinks speaking up would make things worse. Or maybe he is already in too deep, and that silence is the last thing he can control. Jason, of course, is right in the middle of this storm again, which is never exactly a peaceful place to be. Liz confronting him feels inevitable. She would not just be questioning his choices. She would be questioning his judgment around Cameron, and maybe even his entire pattern of bringing danger into the lives of the people she loves. And to me, that is where this could turn explosive. Because once Liz starts demanding answers, Jason may be forced to reveal just enough to make the situation even scarier than she imagined. And then there is Carly searching for Jocelyn, which adds a whole new layer of panic. Because while Carly is scrambling, Cameron may be the one holding the key she never expected. The fact that he could have found Jocelyn's ring at Windermere is the kind of clue that changes the whole shape of the mystery. It does not just hint at where Jocelyn might be. It suggests there may have been a hidden path, a secret location, or a dangerous overlap between Sidwell's crimes and whatever Jason and Cameron were doing. That ring could be more than just a piece of jewelry. It could be proof. It could be a breadcrumb. It could be the first real thread that pulls the whole nightmare into the light. And if that ring was found at Windermere, then suddenly everything feels more twisted. Could Jason and Cameron have broken into the place looking for evidence against Sidwell? That seems entirely possible. And if they did, then their mission may have gone far beyond simple rescue or surveillance. They may have been hunting for something that could expose a much larger criminal operation. That would explain why the stakes feel so high. It would also explain why Cameron might be so guarded now. Maybe he saw too much. Maybe he learned too much. Maybe he did something during that break-in that he cannot undo. And that brings us to the most chilling possibility of all. If Jocelyn's ring was found in the same place where Jason and Cameron were searching, then Jason and Liz may realize that Jocelyn is not merely missing. She could be held somewhere incredibly close, maybe even alongside Liesel. The idea that both women are trapped together feels like the kind of twist General Hospital loves to weaponize at the last possible second. It raises the tension instantly, because now it is not just about finding one missing woman. It is about unlocking an entire hidden prison of secrets, lies, and maybe even collateral damage. Jason planning a rescue is exactly the sort of move that makes sense here, but it also sounds wildly risky. He never seems to do anything halfway when someone is in danger, and this could be no different. The problem is, risk has a way of multiplying when Cameron insists on getting involved. Liz may try to stop him, and honestly, she would have every reason to. She does not want her son dragged deeper into violence, deeper into secrecy, deeper into anything that starts to look like a career in killing. And I think that fear is not random. It could be rooted in one terrible realization. Cameron may already be changing in ways that remind her too much of Jason. That is the emotional landmine in all of this. Liz may not just be afraid of what Cameron is doing. She may be afraid of who he is becoming. And if that is the case, then every choice Jason makes from here on out matters even more. Because to Liz, Jason is not just an ally, he is a warning label. He is living proof of what happens when a good man gets pulled into too much darkness for too long. So when she sees Cameron heading down that same road, it makes sense that she would fight like hell to stop it. But here is the problem. Cameron may not be willing to be saved. He may insist on helping because he feels responsible. He may believe this rescue is the only way to make up for whatever he has done or agreed to. Or maybe he is trying to prove something to Jason, to Liz, or even to himself. And that kind of emotional pressure can make a person reckless. A person in that mindset does not always think clearly. He thinks in terms of survival, loyalty, and guilt. That is a dangerous combination when a life or death mission is on the table. And if we follow that logic, then the next few moves could be pure chaos. Jason may go in with a plan, but plans have a nasty habit of collapsing in Port Charles. Liz may try to keep Cameron out of the line of fire, only to find that her son has already chosen the fight. Carly may keep pushing forward, desperate for answers, while the discovery of the ring pulls the entire group closer to the truth and farther from safety. And if Sidwell really is tied into this, then there may be even more enemies waiting in the shadows than anyone realizes. To me, that is what makes this setup so tense. Every character seems to be standing on a different edge of the same cliff. Cameron may be hiding loyalty, fear, guilt, or all three. Jason may be trying to protect everyone while making it worse, which honestly happens more often than anyone likes to admit. Liz may be forced to decide whether she can trust the man who brought her son into this mess. And Carly may be racing toward Jocelyn with no idea how close or how far the truth really is. So what happens next? Could Cameron finally crack and tell Liz the full story? Could Jason's rescue plan lead them straight into Sidwell's trap? Could that ring at Windermere be the one detail that exposes where Jocelyn and Liesel are being held? Or could Cameron's secret prove even darker than anyone expects, with consequences that change his life forever? Because right now, it really does seem like the truth could be about to surface, and when it does, no one in Port Charles may be ready for the fallout.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.